This is a reminder of the due dates for your senior project research paper. At the end of these first 2 weeks of writing the paper, on October 29th, your research portion of the paper is due. When we come back for the next cycle, after the first week, your process and reflection need to be written in those 5 days, and your whole rough draft, including your works cited page, is due on the 19th. Your works cited page is due on the 29th, also with your research portion. Your final draft, after I take it and point out some places where you need to revise, and your shop teachers take it and they point out places where your technical content needs some work, you'll be given the papers back and you will have exactly 8 days in class to revise it. Of course, this sets up the class time, but the hope is, as you need to do this at home, you will be expected to work on this also at home. This paper is going to be divided into 3 parts. There's going to be a process part, a research part, and a reflection part. The process part is to be written in the first person and an estimate of between 2 and 3 pages long. This is where you write about the creation of your product and the process or steps that you took to create the product. If the product is abstract, such as a presentation or a course taught, you still went through steps to prepare, and this is what you will write about. Explain your reasoning or why you took the steps that you took. The next part will be the research part. The research part will be written in third person. It must have in-text citation, a works cited page with 3 sources. This is where you research the history of or some facet of your product. This is where you are required to gather information from outside sources and cite them properly in your paper using MLA format. You are required to have at least 3 places where you cite another source, but you will probably use more than 3. You must be careful to avoid plagiarism, which is taking the words and ideas from another source and not giving credit, which is called citing your source. This part will be approximately 2 pages long. The last part is the reflection portion. And this is where you reflect or think about your process and examine how it worked out for you. You should discuss what worked out and what did not work and why. Also include how you did troubleshooting and problem solving when you were up against a problem. Include mentors or others who supported you. What did you discover about yourself as a learner and creator? How is this a stretch from what you work on in your vocational shop? This will be approximately 1 to 2 pages long, and it will also be written in first person. The research portion. Everyone filled out a junior proposal packet where you wrote about what you were going to research. This is what we're writing about here. The first thing you need to do is come up with some questions that you would like to ask. So you're writing the questions, and then you're going to look for the answers, and that's what you're going to write about. So you're searching for the answers in reading material. So once you find some reading material on the web or in books, it won't just automatically pop up into your paper all by itself. You need to read the reading material in order to put it into your paper in a way that makes sense. So you can't just throw it in there. You need to read through it, and you need to decide which things in that reading need to be in this paper. Now, there are 3 ways to include your research in your paper. The first way is direct quotes, and that is taking exactly word for word what the author wrote and putting it directly in your paper. And you need to have quotation marks around that when you do that. A second way is paraphrasing, and that's taking something another writer wrote, an author wrote, and putting it into your own words. Lastly, you can summarize. And summarize is taking a longer piece, zooming in on the key points, putting them in your own words, and putting them in your paper. All three of these things are called in-text citation. This is called in-text citation. Oftentimes, when you hear that word, your eyes glaze over and you have no idea what it means. You've heard it a zillion times, but you still have no idea what it means. It means taking the words or the ideas of another person's writing and putting them into your paper. Now, of course, when we do that, we need to be sure that we give the author credit. If we don't give the author credit, that is called plagiarism. And if you plagiarize, it's a form of stealing, and your paper will get a 0. So that translates, if you do not have in-text citation in your paper will get a 0. How do you do this? You put in your direct quotes, your paraphrasing or your summary, and then at the end of that sentence or sentences, you need to put the author's last name in parentheses. And then the period goes after the parentheses. What if there's no author's last name? The next thing that you would do is you would look for the title of the article. And you would put the title of the article in parentheses, making sure that you capitalize the title. Same thing with the author's last name. You want to capitalize it. And you put it in quotation marks because it's the title of an article. And then you put it in the parentheses with a period afterwards. This is how you put in-text citation into your paper. So you read, first you research, you find information. Let's just review this. Okay. The steps are, for research, write down questions. Find articles that answer the questions. Questions, find articles that answer the questions, and then what do you do with the articles? You read the articles. These are the first 3 steps of research. After you do that, then you find the important points. That are going to support your paper. And then you are going to use direct quotes, paraphrase, or summarize this information to put into your paper, and then give credit to the author through in-text citation. So those are the steps.